And boom, according to that, I am live. Welcome. My name is Sequel Simon. This is Tokyo Tonight. It is Sunday night at 10:33 p.m. In Japan, in Tokyo. It is Tokyo Tonight. I guess this time next week it's going to be Keri Keri Tonight. I've thought about how I'm going to do things next week. And while I love being consistent, it's one of the things I sort of try to do is do it at this time. At the same time, chances are on Sundays and so on, when I'm in New Zealand, we're going to be doing things in the morning, and this time happens to be 3:30 or what 2:30 a.m. And I could do it earlier in the day to be US friendly, but if I do that, Sunday we're going to be doing stuff. We're going to be going out and hopefully enjoying the New Zealand summer. So as a result of that, I think I'm going to stick to doing this at what in New Zealand time is this time. Maybe a little bit earlier than this. I might do it at 9:30 or whatever. But yeah, I'll figure that out. But it's going to be basically a couple of hours earlier than this, 3 or 4 hours earlier than this. I know it's also end of year time, so if you can watch, if you can join, especially if you're in places like Europe that have a more favorable time zone, bear in mind it will be earlier. And if you can't, just so it'll be ready for you whenever you wake up and you want to watch. You'll be able to. I do really enjoy the live crowd, so when I'm back from New Zealand, it'll just be 3 weeks. We'll come back to the regular time and do it all live. But at the same time, hey, if you can leave a like and a comment, I would appreciate that. Great to see so many people here. I see there's Sadiq talking about the drones. I didn't have that in my list, but hell, this is what this show's about. I can talk about anything you guys want to talk about. Great to see. We've already got 14 people in here. Thank you very much. Remember to like everybody. Let's see who's here. We've got, as usual, DJ Sunny Side Up with that enormous head of hair is in here first. Mr. Cordy Chep in here second. Good to have you in from Australia. Shubus made it third. Wow, that coffee is really working this morning. Good stuff. Lara, noticing that we are an advanced, coordinated, we're basically like a quantum computer. We can count like in completely separate locations at the same time, spread all around the world. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, we've got Panama, we've got Australia, and we have Kochi. So there you go, Shikoku Island. Great to see you, and you can type Dan H saying hello to everybody. We've got Ichijiku Ninjin, Sansho ni Shiitake, Gobo ni Mukao ni. I'm not sure I fully get that. You sort of lose me. You lose me at Sansho ni. I don't know what you mean by that. Gobo is like a thing. But yes, anyway, good to have you in here. As always, Dan H. Love your requests. We've got 5 of you there, but only 3 likes. Well, hopefully that's corrected. I don't currently have the YouTube video open, so we're going on honor system at the moment. But also verify but trust. I am opening up the YouTube window as well to have a look. And we have 10 likes and 15 people watching. So yeah, remember to like. We do appreciate that. Tai Nakamura asking if I'm going to be talking about Mary Jane. Certainly. Unfortunately, Tai, the news is not good. Frankly, I mean, even whether you like it or not, the news is bad. The news is how Japan has actually increased the penalties associated with it. Someone actually just pinged me just now, something which I wasn't sure, that Japan has apparently relaxed medical marijuana stuff. It does remember, I think it's the opening scene of Airplane, or maybe Airplane 2, where they have a picture of a marijuana plant. So Japan has relaxed it for medical marijuana. And it does remind me back in the 70s, they had a picture of a marijuana plant and with a sign hanging off it saying for glaucoma patients only, and everybody grabbing all the leaves off it. That may be the situation we're going into in Japan, but apparently, we'll get to that. But Japan's getting tougher. But yes, we're talking about Mary Jane and all of her friends. Cobras Tenshi, good to see you. The beautiful people indeed. Cobras Tenshi, by the way, Nesta as well, who I see is in the comments. I know that you guys DM me on Twitter. I've just had it's end of year and we're wrapping up and I've had a crazy busy week. And I know that you've messaged me and I know that you've offered me to send me the tracks that you like to request, which is great because I can then do AI mixing with them. So I do plan to take you up on that. I've just been too disorganized to open up the message and respond. Also, Nesta and DJ Sunny set up. I know that you made me intro clips, and I do want to. Now that StreamYard allows you intro and outro clips, I have this idea of doing like a. And I used Sora. This is another topic that I'll get to try to make a 5-second intro clip that I could play when I come on and do my big boom in Tokyo. And I had ideas. I had epic Star Wars Trench Run meets Lost in Translation meets MacGyver ideas of a 5-second clip. Apparently, I blew OpenAI's mind. I blew Sora's mind. Sora could not handle all the input. Johnny Five is not alive. Could not make my clip. I know that you guys also had made some clips for me, so we'll get to all of that. And I've just had too much of a week at the moment, but I'm going to be on a farm for 3 weeks pretty soon. So I hope I'll catch up on all of that. But yeah, thank you for the DMs and everything. I will get back. I'm sorry I'm backed up. Starting with you, Cobra Tenchi. Anyway, Seb, yo, great to see you. As always, do appreciate all of your music. I go and buy basically half of your music recommendations on every after party, so I do appreciate those. Great to see you in there, Seb. Cobra Tenchi feels betrayed by the weather. Just snowed in Kansai, and there, Germany, I believe, it's just rain. Did it just snow in Kansai? I'm not following that. It's been cold here in Tokyo, but Tokyo is sunny and beautiful because that is how Tokyo is at this time of year. Lara is sleepy. My effect working already. I hadn't even started this. I think I've achieved the next level of getting people to sleep when I can put them to sleep like 5 minutes before the stream starts. So I'm like nailing it. That's winning. Believe in yourself. Saying hello to everybody and right back to you. Some hojicha, indeed, some good suggestions there from Dan H. Ida, good to have you in here. Coffee, everyone recommending coffee. It's 10:30 at night. But yeah, why not? Whoop, whoop, indeed. Great to have you interested in one of the topics in particular. Luigi Mangione, that's what everyone's into. We've got Ibaraki. Of course, Ibaraki. Although actually, is it Ibaraki? Where are you at? I'm remembering you're somewhere. Well, anyway. All of that stuff. We've got Sadiq. Glad that you can make it, Sadiq. As always, great to see you in here. We've got people saying hello to everybody. Everybody's in a very good mood. Glad to see you. Got Aaron, our moderator. You made it. Great to see you. Hey, indeed. Apologies. I guess I could do this 9:30 p.m. New Zealand time, but that is like 3 hours earlier than this. That is like 7:30 p.m. Japan Standard Time. Whatever the time is right now, 3 hours earlier, which I think in Indiana means like 4 o'clock in the morning or something. But yeah, it's New Zealand, and it's an early go to sleep and early wake up country. So like, even 10:30 p.m. is like the equivalent of 5 o'clock in the morning. It's like going night clubbing all night. Being on a farm awake at 10:30 in New Zealand is like the equivalent of being up to 5 a.m. in Shibuya. So some serious jet lag coming up, but we'll see. I've got an overnight flight to New Zealand, so hopefully if I just like white knuckle it and get through, I'll be able to get in sync on the second day. We'll see. Mystery drones. I forgot the drones in the USA. Well, I didn't forget them. I've seen it. It's like, I don't know what it's about. We can talk about it right now. I see everybody clamoring for the mystery drones. Well, I'm not saying that it's aliens, but it's aliens. No, I don't know. I've seen one or two of the clips, and there are things like, for example, when you see a green light moving the opposite to a bright light with the subtle shifts of the camera, that's an internal reflection of the optics within the camera. And there's a lot of UFO videos that have been explained this way, is one thing. When you do astronomy and you aim your telescope at a bright thing, in particular with the camera optics, because they run everything through prisms, you do get these green, specifically reflections, and on the opposite side of the images. I don't know that that's everything. I don't know that they're drones. If it's genuinely UFOs, and I grew up into all the UFO stuff, and I always just assumed it's either really UFOs or it's US military. I mean, everyone knows about how the B-2 and the people were seeing off the coast of Britain. They saw these triangle-shaped black stealth planes, planes before anybody knew what they were. So is the camera following me now? I've got to turn that stuff off. Lately, I think there was a software update, and it does not just sit in place anymore. Let me turn on the controls to turn that scheisse off. Scheisse. Here we go. Gesture settings, auto tracking, all of it gone because I wave And yes, okay, we're back to normal now. So I don't know. Do I think it's really drones? I don't know. I've seen the U.S. military saying, "Hey, it wasn't us." I'm not saying it's foreign though. Who knows? Could be China. China. Who knows? I've got no particular idea. But it is kind of cool. There's a thing for me about how all these used to be able to have all these ghost stories and UFO stories, and when I was a kid in the Middle Ages, apparently in the 1980s, you'd watch TV shows like Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World and Ripley's Believe It or Not. And the thing was, all you had to do was sound quasi-sane and be able to tell a story vividly and have a single photograph of where it happened. And you could say, literally, you could say that, purple painted people eaters, jumped out of a banana-shaped UFO, and it would all be fine. So everyone would believe you. But all of a sudden, everyone has smartphones, and it's like, where did the UFO and ghost sightings go? You can't really say that you didn't, why didn't you take a photo anymore? So I kind of thought maybe smartphones ruined ghosts and UFOs and proved that people were just always making it up in the first place when you stopped hearing about the sightings. But now you are getting these things, and it's interesting. I got no idea, but we'll see what happens. But I suspect there's a lot of weird optics and stuff like that happening in the cameras, actually. But who knows? Who knows? I'm definitely more of a skeptic now, as much as I've enjoyed all that stuff. But mystery drones, they're good stuff. Oscar Hafstad, Bard Berg. I went and bought one of those tracks. I believe it was actually even called Tokyo Nights or something, which, not just because I'm doing all of this on Tokyo Nights. You're recommending some really good tracks. I was going through, when I was going through the tracks that iTunes was recommending to me this week, all of a sudden I've got all this Norwegian, techno music, and it's quite good. So, yes, I just realized I was about to do something that may mix Norway up with Sweden, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to say aha, not just aha. So there you go. Anyway, we've got Ida, we've got Believe in Yourself. Oh, and there's more comments. Going to rush through this. What else we got here? It's 8:30 a.m. there in Miami, so 5:30. Yeah, that's going to be Land of the Rising Sun. First to see the sun, as we say there in New Zealand. But yes, 8:35 in Panama, so 5:35. Oh, it's going to be tough. Watch up, wake up, and watch. And leave me a comment so I don't feel all ignored. New Zealand is like, as a country, we feel left alone. Like, most world maps, most land masses, like the Pacific is kind of empty. So they maximize the world maps. And you get a better square, you can have a better proportion. If you cut it off where all the land masses end, which to a lot of people, that's like the edge of Asia and Australia on one side and America on the other. And you just forget that big gap of water in the middle, which isn't just New Zealand. It's also like, my dad's from Fiji, Samoa, Hawaii, all those places often get left off. New Zealand gets left off a lot of maps, and we and we're in a terrible time zone for the rest of the world. We are one of probably the most isolated countries in the world, and that's why people like me just get the hell out. It's a beautiful country, Lord of the Rings, but oh my God, get me a backpack and get me the hell out of here. And when we go back, yes, I'm feeling like, oh, everybody's in the wrong time zone now. But no, it is what it is. But still, do get online and say hello, and bingo, enjoy all your Christmas festivities. And whatever, all of your Kwanzaa celebrations, as I will also be thinking about while I'm celebrating in New Zealand. It should be nice. Yes. Did I ever get the boom? I did get the boom intro, and I was just too busy this week to organize my stuff. I did get it. I liked it. And I was trying to make a few of my own and estimate a couple as well. So I'm going to get to them all and sort them out. And it's going to be my New Zealand Stuck on a Farm with a Starlink Terminal project. So there we go. What about USA? I don't know. USA is pretty cool. But yeah. So yes, canubriating all morning, waiting for the show to start. Well, you'll be able to canubriate less when we got that. 23 people. That is awesome. You just made a Kiki's Delivery Service trap remix. I would like to listen to that. And everybody, go subscribe. DJ Sunny Side Up's always making music, and some people heard a sample, a Christmas song last week. Cover up your children's ears while listening to it, but it was a good track. So yeah, go check out the Kiki's Delivery Service track remix. Go check that out on DJ Sunny Setup's channel. Do what Erin says. She's the boss. Um, give it a like if you're in here. Do appreciate that, and should have smashed the like before, so you don't forget. Do appreciate that. You're on the second cuppa. You're like grabbing the keyboard and just liking by hitting it on the table. I appreciate that. Tadom! Glad that you can make it. I've got everybody here. Waiting to the new year. Got one more album to add anyway. That would be awesome. What farm work will I be doing? Well, it's kind of an orchard that my dad got. It's a huge property, but yes, I'll probably be trying to avoid. Well, there's not many. There's just dogs, pretty much. There's no animals. There are rabbits there, but like wild ones. And there's like kiwis next door. There's a kiwi reserve, which they're protected animals and they only come out at night. But I'm hoping I'll get to see a kiwi. But it's mostly vegetables. So if I'm helping at all, it'll be probably cutting grass. Not Mary Jane related. Although that part of the country is well known for it. New Zealand has a thriving grass industry. But lots of fruit, lots of vegetables, just all that sort of stuff. And enjoying the New Zealand summer, which is like 25 degrees Celsius, which is what? It's about 85 to 90 degrees maximum. It's not too hot. It's beautiful. So very much looking forward to that. That was Japan folk. It was a song for children called Ichijiku Ninjin. I did not know. Homophones the vegetables. I did not know that. So there we go. That's a comment about counting. So there we go. Everybody reacting. Yes, glad that you're liking it. So next week, Auckland After Dark. It's not even Auckland. It's Kerikeri After Dark. Kerikeri, town of 2,000 people in the far north of New Zealand. North being warm in New Zealand. So we actually have the sunny Bay of Islands, the former capital of New Zealand, the Kyoto, as it were, of New Zealand, where everybody was until people said, you should put the capital in the middle, and they all moved down to windy Wellington. But yes. Luigi, we've got Luigi definitely from an Iranian mothership. Sadiq's thinking the drones might be Iranian. Well, you know what? I mean, the Iranians have surprised everybody. I mean, the Russians seem to love the drones, so who knows? Iran's been having a bad week. With what's happened in Syria, it's kind of great news. It's great news that Assad is out. And I very sincerely hope that Syria can sort of not get into another ISIS or another kind of civil war situation. It's hard to see how it won't, but certainly I think with the USA, if the USA gets to work with the new government in Syria, because USA is backing the massive Kurdish-controlled area, and America's not going to let the Kurds declare an independent country there because they don't want to piss off Turkey. But I think with America there being involved, like Trump saying, oh, we don't want to have anything to do with it. But if America is involved and they make nice with the Turkish-backed current people in Damascus, there's a chance that we could avoid a massive civil war in Syria, and there's a chance that the country could properly stabilize. The only problem is I know that the Kurdish part there is probably Turkey doesn't like having that there. So America really needs to say, hey, everybody just chill. And if that happens, very bad, of course, for Iran and Russia, which is a good thing because they're being assholes, like invading countries at the moment. So we'll see what happens, but who knows? Who knows? Will I be talking about Jay-Z? I will not be talking about Jay-Z. I don't like to talk about crime. I don't like to talk about celebrities and celebrities doing crime. Who knows? But yes, humanity is indeed stupid. We've got all of that. We are coming. Yoni, glad that you made it. Moi, a man from Finland, got you in here. We got Odie Jr. Good morning. Bada boom. Right back at you. Beautiful doggy. Indeed. See, salmon and I know two things about Norway. I have Norwegian friends, actually. Couple anyway. And they're excellent people. So will I start smoking when I get there? New Zealand? No. I went to Seattle and I thought about it and I talked about it. And after like a day, I was like, oh my God, I'm just sick of this freaking smell everywhere. It's like it's like the old, trope from the 1930s of, when they catch a kid smoking. So they lock him in a closet and make him smoke a whole, tub of cigars to make him hate smoking. Which says, 1930s, how to raise your kids. Weed. I was kind of overexposed to it in Seattle. It'll be. I'll probably be smoking kiwi fruit. I'm not sure how that works with the digestive system, but I'm looking forward to some apples, some Zespri apples. Got to get some in you. Sainted Son, good morning, New York City. Great to see you. I'm really so glad to see all of you guys here all the time on your Sunday morning, and I'm kind of like I'm sad that I'm going to be in a terrible time zone for Sunday morning, but you're going to be able to see me when you wake up. So please, next week, for all of you joining, log in when you enjoy your coffee with me in the background. You and leave me a comment, and yeah, come back and join when I get back in second week of January. So it should be awesome. USA is planning a preemptive attack on Iran. Well, that would be crazy. Um, I hope that's not the case. I don't think Trump would do that. I think Trump genuinely like isn't interested in attacking. I give Trump credit for very few things, but it's a pretty rare U.S. president that can say that they didn't like the U.S. military didn't attack and it didn't start a new war. And Trump is one of the few that can actually say that. For all of his flaws, I give that to him. Actually, I think actually war is justified in self-defense when you're being attacked. So the idea that he doesn't even want to get into helping Ukraine defend itself, to me, is wrong. But at the same time, I'll give him credit that, USA has always been sort of invading someone or attacking someone else. And they haven't done it. So I'm hoping at least that, I can't imagine, of all the people that would attack Iran, I'm hoping it's not him. But we'll see. It's both Kyoto and Communist Farms area. Kerikeri, communists? I don't know if they're communists. They're farmers. So I don't know where the communist part comes from, but everybody gets along. Hey, if Iran was a person, it would be playing that Michael Pointer song. It'd be tearfully sort of looking out the window on a rainy day with "You've Had a Bad Day" playing in the background. That's been the government of Iran's week. Iranian people, by the way, I'll just go and throw this in. In Japan, there are tons of Iranian people. Japan has great relations with Iran. Iranian people are awesome, and I can't wait for that country to become like a normal, engaged with the world country with a normal government, so that all the people there get these assholes out. Iranian people are awesome, and I really can't wait for that, genuinely. But yes, Iran, the country, the government is definitely having a bad week, and honestly, that's a good thing because they're assholes. The government, people are awesome. Anyway, good morning, all of this. You heard an interesting theory about the drones. Aaron, share the interesting theory about the drones. Where we're all here, I'm gonna put on my celebrity podcast, Open to Anything. Oh yeah, I didn't even include this. The Diary of a CEO guy. I didn't even know his real name, but BBC decided basically everything that the BBC article is saying, that Diary of a CEO is basically just getting in a whole bunch of charlatans, putting out like fake like health tips and harmful misinformation. Yeah, that's kind of my take lately. It's like they've become so obsessed with just putting in clickbaity like podcasts. And I was really enjoying it, but I noticed that when as that channel picked up, the amount of obvious unchallenged crap that goes on but that is what podcasters do. I guess that's what I'm certainly not a journalist. I'm not researching anything. I'm just offering commentary, and I get. But at the same time, he's just bringing people on and letting them like sell their books and so on, and give their spiel. And I don't know. It feels like they've strayed a bit. So. There's that. So I'm gonna be an uncritical podcaster. Aaron, give me your theory. I'm ready to believe. I want to believe. Cue X Files. So let's go. It'll take a minute to type it out. That's okay. We're all waiting here. Keep it as short as possible. That is fine. I'm gonna go into a topic maybe while you do that, but please type it out. And people should need a license to start a podcast. They need some Mary Jane, which we're gonna get to soon. Makes them all better. Editing a vid now, listening in the background. Curious about my MJ ticket. Well, Michael Jackson, I think he did it. That's it. I'm gonna go out there. I think him and Diddy, they were in on everything. That's my MJ ticket topic. Anyway, let's get into it. Luigi Mangione, the man who, after having a coffee at Starbucks, and went and assassinated the health CEO Stephen Bartlett. Stephen Bartlett. Is the BBC what made him famous? I don't know. I came across one or two of his videos and I liked them about a year ago, but I'm finding a decline. I'm curious, actually, Dan H, if you could add more information to that since we're squirrel chasing. But coming back to Luigi and Mario. So Luigi, apparently, the perfect crime. He was wearing a face mask. He was, he'd written, insurance stuff on the bullets. Had a silencer, had a 3D printed gun, was all set to go. Knew where to go, showed up, just had to go get a Starbucks before because why not? And he just broke character for a moment. Apparently there was a cute girl serving the coffee, so he took his mask off to flirt with her on a security camera. And the entire, the assassination still happened, so you could say it didn't really interfere. But in terms of his plan to not be identified, it was pretty much done the moment that Luigi saw a pretty girl. The downfall of humanity. So, of course, and like everyone, I don't want to give the guy a platform. He had some sort of manifesto or whatever, and it wasn't actually. Everyone was saying, "Oh, was this guy like ripped off by this company?" And it sounds like it wasn't that specific. It sounds like he just didn't like, the health system in corporate America in general, and just decided to target the biggest insurance company first. Of course, everybody immediately dives in to all of his social media, and some people finding, as is the case, unfortunately. I mean, speaking of Norway, Breivik, I think it was that all these Caucasian mass murderers around the world, New Zealand, America, Norway, everybody there is a pattern that where it's a famous murderer and a Caucasian, they've got a lot of interest in Japan. Do I have to turn myself in now? If you're white and have an opinion on Japan, does that increase the risk that you're gonna write some names on bullets and start killing people? I don't know, but this guy apparently did. Apparently, he came to Japan and he made a couple of comments. Generally speaking, he solved Japan's birth rate problem. So Luigi's solution, not saving the princess, which was unexpected. He actually said that apparently all you need to do in Japan is to encourage natural human interaction, ban masturbation aids being sold in Don Quixote grocery stores. I think he had like one trip to Japan for a week and immediately assessed that the problem with Japan is everybody. He spent a bit of time in the adult / personal health section and concluded this was the problem with Japan. Conveyor belt sushi restaurants and machine vending ordering because of the human interaction with a waiter. Replace the cafes where young males earn false fitness signals via Tekken fighting. Tekken is an awesome game, and believe me, all of these muscles. I mean, this is pure Tekken right here. 1993. That was a fantastic game. And Overwatch games with athletics in school. And his main advice is to heavily stigmatize maid cafes, where lonely salarymen, they're not lonely salarymen, they're guys who are into maid cafes that are there, and they're not necessarily, I mean, sure, they got to pay for it. Guys got to make a living, but where they pay girls to dress as anime characters. I mean, I don't know. Revitalize traditional Japanese culture. Bring back Shintoism. So I don't know. Thanks for the advice, Luigi. Kind of putting a bullet into Japanese culture right there. Another thing apparently he commented is Japan is full of NPCs. And this is a comment I've been thinking about this week. A lot of people, you hear about this sort of buzzword going around. All the kids are saying these days about main character syndrome. Johnny Somali, people who go around the world where, it's a version of narcissism syndrome, where you are unable to see any of the people around you as anything other than two-dimensional, and you believe like the world is a movie where you're the star and everybody else are just sort of background actors, or literally, and NPCs are the term NPC, non-playable character, is literally a video game background character. It's a completely dehumanizing term. It's completely denying the humanity of people, and it's kind of there's a theme on this forever. You've got all these people from cultures, and certainly Australia feels like this to a New Zealander, and America feels like this to Australians. So America, I think, is on the top of the pile of cultures where being an individual and expressing your identity in the open is celebrated. New Zealand, people will throw rocks at you if you express your identity with too much confidence. It's not accepted in New Zealand, very much like Japan like that. There's this thing where Japan and New Zealand lean a little bit towards, we have what we call, Australia has this a little bit as well, tall poppy syndrome. But in Australia, people who, are different in New Zealand move to Australia and do well over there. But in New Zealand, anyone being different gets sort of chopped out. But I think it's good to have culture. It's something I actually respect about America and Australia is that people can be more individual and more expressive. But at the same time, there is this thing, when you come from a culture which prioritizes expression, when everybody's constantly advertising themselves, which is definitely a thing I found personally about American culture. When you meet people, the first minute you hear their entire life story, which can be fun. I like to leave a little. I mean, yes, granted, I talk for an hour every week on the internet, so But even then, I mean, I like to leave some mystery or something to look forward to finding out about. But yeah, so when you come to a country like Japan, where the culture is based on, and New Zealand is a bit like this too, where it's based on not showing off and being primarily considerate towards the people around you. Even if you're an asshole, the society is just through bullying and enforced social coercion that everybody is just constantly being very mindful and enforced consideration to people around them. This idea that if you are jikochu is considered one of the worst. It's like being uzai. The worst kind of put downs in Japanese is not asshole. It's not, it's not a C word or an F word or an R word. The worst put downs, like the most scathing put downs in Japanese, uzai, which means annoying, and jikochu, which is into yourself or up yourself. New Zealand also, by the way, New Zealand will say up yourself, being basically somebody who presents themselves as being really into themselves, which I may or may not be accused of in New Zealand because I like to talk. But so when you have people who come here and, even ever since I got here, they didn't say main character syndrome and NPCs. Back in when I first got to Japan, there were these people that say, look at all these people, sheeple, everybody here just following the crowd. There's wrongs that, I demand, why does nobody take action? Why does nobody speak up? And it's like, well, because people here aren't assholes like you are. I mean, that's the basic thinking. Anyone who is being obnoxious and standing out like that is an asshole. So in a culture, when you got a culture which prioritizes, self-expression and so on, and expressing your own identity, yes, I can understand how Japanese culture and people in Japanese culture come across as being these, these people completely lacking personality, these drones going around in the background. But when you hear people, if you're expressing contempt for the idea that these people all look like sheeple or they look like NPCs, what that's really saying is that you literally see those people as two-dimensional and you're condemning them for it. And that puts you in a contrast in the opposite. You're the main character, you're surrounded by these things, and you are the person out there expressing yourself and in any room demanding the attention of everybody, which in this country means you're being an asshole. There is actually a fantastic post by Paprika Girl Japan, which I'm going to share her 20 pieces of advice for being successful in Japan. My 20 pieces of advice would just be the same piece of advice over and over, which is just don't be a dickhead. It's so simple, and the fact that this guy, that Luigi, said that, so many NPCs in Japan, everybody looks like NPCs. It's this thing, it's contempt, just, dude, people, the moment you say a comment like that on social media, straight to jail. Seriously, you're going to kill somebody, you're an asshole. Go home. It's not going to work out. So it's why pretty consistently people who condemn Japanese as being sheeple or or NPCs or whatever, and so I think don't be like Luigi. The murdering is also bad, by the way. Don't do that. But yeah, anyway, he got a lot of attention. Let's come back because Erin put her thoughts together, I believe, back here, and I want to see what they were about the drones. They're US-made HPGE nuclear detector drones that were made to scan and detect gamma rays, nuclear radiation explosives of dirty bombs to protect the homeland. That's why they have to be so large. Okay. Oh, by the way, Black Tengu and Yuri the Best. Great to have our man from Ukraine and from Greece in the chat. Great to have you in here as always. So, Aaron, good theory. One, I don't know why they'd have to keep it secret if they had drones. I mean, totally plausible that they'd have drones to detect, for example, dirty bombs or whatever, if they think that there's a threat. I suppose if they think that there's a threat and they don't want to publicize that they're monitoring it, and maybe they've got information that it would be New Jersey that would be the target. I mean, to me, the theory falls apart the moment that you realize if this is happening. If this was happening over New York or Los Angeles or, beautiful, productive centers of culture in America, Washington, D.C., the center of power, I get it. But the moment you find out it's only happening in New Jersey, I have to question, are the drones there to keep the bombs away or to drive them towards? I don't understand. But maybe you're right. Maybe they are. And if they are trying to be discreet, then why are they lighting them up? But that said, the idea that they could be radiation detection drones, yeah, why not? I mean, that certainly is. DoD there thinks there is a threat of a dirty bomb or a nuclear weapon that's coming in the East Coast ports. And they are searching, but they won't tell us because they're worried that it'll trigger panic. There we go. Well, that is. I mean, that is actually of all the theories that are out there, that is a coherent theory that would explain it. And I suppose there is probably a port in New Jersey, so that would explain why they would even want to protect New Jersey. So who knows? But yeah, no, I give you credit for that. So yes, welcome Black Tengu, welcome Yuri the Best, and catching back up in the comments. Oh, we got Ibaraki 299, Mr. E-Boy. Well, got so many people rocking in here still. Do remember to leave a like. It's great to see you all. I'm gonna again, my advice for the evening: just don't be a dickhead, or be like Luigi. And let's continue on. The second story. Japanese people need to learn to be a bit more up themselves. No, I feel like they're being a bit too safe, says Mr. E-Boy. I agree. And actually, and this is something of my own culture, when New Zealanders do this about Australians bloody show-offs. If you look at Flight of the Conchords, whenever there's New Zealand versus Australia, Australians just mercilessly just make fun of us constantly, you know, sheep jokes and accent jokes and so on. And we just sort of sit there and go, show-offs. Which to us is like the most biggest burn that we can give. Oh, you're a show-off. Which is why, you know, the Aussies don't, it's not even a put-down. It's a compliment to an Australian. So, even though it's funny because Aussies don't think of that themselves that way, but to New Zealand friends, and I'm half Australian, and to my New Zealand friends who live in Australia, when I talk with them, at least the more conservative-minded ones who are not too, you know, like anti-Australian or anything, yeah, we also think New Zealand really needs to get the chip off its shoulder a bit and be a bit more, you know, like that. No, Japan definitely has that. Japan, I think, shouldn't be. I agree. New Zealand definitely needs to be a little bit more up itself. But at the same time, I don't want it to lose the magic of the things that make it good. So what can we do? Story number 2. It is 11:09. No problem. Too many topics as usual. Tokyo, in spite of the economy being absolutely in the crap, Tokyo is still the number 3 ranked city in the world to live in. I've got ranking. Can I enlarge this? Why is that so small? Okay. Unseen Japan. Why are you making your graphics unseen? Not helpful. Let's open this in a new tab. Let's see if we... Come on. So, economy, Tokyo at 10. Can we move this across? Oh, we can do this. Okay. Research and development, Tokyo number 3. Cultural interaction, behind Paris and London, but which I guess are very cosmopolitan, but Tokyo number 3. Livability, I guess partly because it's affordable and it's an awesome city. Interesting that Madrid gets above Tokyo for livability. I lived in Madrid for 3 months, and I don't think Tokyo, well, in the early 1990s, so it might have changed, but I think Tokyo far exceeds Madrid. I don't know Paris. But yeah, Barcelona, absolutely, I like. Interesting one there. I think Tokyo for livability can probably be higher. Environment, Tokyo is like 18th. It's off the list. The environment's not so bad in Tokyo, actually. It's pretty clean, and the pollution problems of the past are pretty much done. I don't know about that. Accessibility. This is an interesting one because I've had Americans who have come here, and they're the yellow helping people with sight problems and so on be able to walk more safely. But you know what? That's right. If you've ever broken a leg in Tokyo, it's improving, but you're right. Accessibility challenges, I'm remembering, are a thing. So, yeah, we're number 3. We're number 3. I think that's a good place to be. It's not enough to be it's not enough to be a show off. You know, it's enough you can be sort of humble, but still doing well. So I'll go along with that. What else have we got here? Prostitution in Osaka. Follow the yellow brick road. Seems to be the new advice if you're looking for a ho-ho-ho at Christmas time. Apparently Osaka, you know what? There are apparently places in Tokyo that I know nothing about. Apparently in Shin-Okubo, the Korean neighborhood, there is a park famous for streetwalkers, you know, which there's been some police and publicity around. Apparently, Osaka has a streetwalker thing. I don't really understand why there would be streetwalkers in Japan for various reasons I won't go into here, other than Japan's nighttime entertainment industry is enormous and varied. And honestly, I don't know why you'd have to be walking the streets necessarily if that was something you wanted to do in life. But that said, And I wonder who that couple is. Apparently, Osaka City, there was a particular street, which doesn't look like much of a street. So they just very passive aggressively decided to tell Dorothy that she should go back to Kansas by putting up lots of signs saying prostitution is a crime and painting the road yellow. Which I don't know, just makes me imagine arm in arm with the client just skipping along off to the love hotels, which are also prominently on that street there. So yes, hey kids, along with Mary Jane, if you need a prostitute, follow the yellow brick road seems to be Osaka's new advice. But apparently psychologically, it's reduced incidence of prostitution to the extent prostitution is an incident. Anyway, let's move along. We've got green space and so on. Could mean green space indeed. It could. It's improving, but Rochelle Kopp's comment you might have seen on this saying Tokyo, look at the low score on environment. And yes, that's definitely a part of it. Paprika Girl. Paprika Girl's an interesting character. She's like a kimono sensei, I think. Every photo, and I think I met her once as well at an event, and she was absolutely dressed up immaculately in kimono. She produces a TV show, like a sort of which recently got some awards. In fact, I think, I retweeted this earlier, but yeah, I don't know the details of the award, but she produces like a TV show that's available on the internet and is awesome. And she's got a thread. She posts a lot of. She's been living here almost as long as I have, 2002, so 22 years. It's respectable. And she's got 20 honest advice items if you want to have a good life in Japan. I have one. Don't be a dick. That's it. And if you look at anyone who's who's failing at having a good life in Japan, well, maybe I've just realized now that seems unfair. There are reasons that non-dickheads might not have a good life in Japan, but certainly you look at the Johnny Somalis, everything can be rounded up that way. But let's go through the 20 pieces of advice from Paprika Girl, because I endorse all of them, and I actually appreciate the Gen X raised by being left in a forest with a hunting knife undertone that comes to many of the self-reliance undertones to this, which are definitely, I don't know if the kids these days would appreciate, but yeah, I endorse all of these. So first of all, come here with a marketing skill and it can't be English. Caveat: if your dream is to be an English teacher and you're like you've trained for 10 years to be the best English teacher in the world and you want to set up a school and a business around English teaching, great. Focus on English teaching. But don't just wander here, wanting to, bang girls, drink beers, and put off your education and just go to an eikaiwa and speak your own language for a minimum wage. A lot of people do that, and they wake up and they're 35 years old, and they have no options in life left. So her advice to have another skill and get that, like have your skill plus Japanese, absolutely critical. I wanted to come to Japan before I was 23. I thought, oh my God, I'm 22. I want to go to Japan now. I can't wait one more year. But waiting that extra year, I graduated with a law degree, which I didn't even use right away, but I did use later on. And I had that option because I got my shit in order before I came here. And a lot of people have long-term lives set up here. They live here, but they have their other skills as well. And there are other options for their life here. They're not trapped in just being, in doing one job. That isn't what they would be doing if they were elsewhere. Again, you can have a great life for a certain amount of time, and some people discover along the way that it is their calling to be a teacher, and they start, that is their thing as well. But if that's not your thing, make sure you have your thing in order before you come here. That's good advice. Learn Japanese, absolutely. I always say this to people. If you, as an English speaker, people here mainly being English speakers, if you speak English and you live in Tokyo, granted, this has actually changed a lot now. It used to be that the population of foreigners, Tokyo's a 35 million person city with 20,000 English speakers, more than something like 15,000 of which are US military. So you're in a really small town. I've lived in towns with less than 20, with 20,000 people. They are small towns. And, you can have a good life in Tokyo just speaking English, but you'll be restricted what you can do. Again, this is changing with all the tourism and so on, but your life will be like a tourist, basically. You're going to be able to experience a 35 million person unlimited city if you learn Japanese. So yes, absolutely. And just like she says, same, you never stop learning. And same with English. You don't realize even our own languages, we're always learning. But yeah, if you want to have a good life in Japan, you can get by without it if you're an English speaker, but you're just gonna have such a limited life. 3, get used to being a gaijin. A bit of harsh self-reliance here. You'll always be Japanese. You'll never become Japanese. I have a slight caveat on this. Yes, I'm comfortable with who I am, but at the same time, I don't get obsessed. You quickly lose that obsession with are they treating me like I'm an outsider? If gaiji means an outsider, do they accept me? I think it probably takes a lot of people to their 30s to realize that it doesn't really matter whether people are using your correct pronouns or whether they see you for the way that you want them to identify you, by your nationality. They see a lot of people get offended that, you're American. They go, oh, screw you, I'm a Kiwi. You have people like that. All these people always ask if I'm American or something like that. All that matters is if they know that I'm Hiko. And if they know me, that they like me, the people I know at work, I work with people from so many different countries. I don't, okay, it might come up that person's German and that person's American, but I primarily think about them by who they are and their personalities and those qualities. And that's how, and anyone who I don't know that, I don't spend time obsessing. I don't spend time for people who don't know me, what they think of me. So it's not even a thing of, will I never be, to people who don't know me, I'm never going to be Japanese, and I can't change that, and I'm not interested in changing that. If it's important to me that they get to know me, I'll get to know them, and not, and not get to know me as a Japanese or a foreigner or a Kiwi, but get to know me as Hiko. So I think that's the key thing. Getting known as who you are is the important thing, not whether you're seen as a Japanese or a New Zealander or a foreigner or whatever. So that's right. Getting hooked up on becoming Japanese, which I definitely had for my 20s. I wanted to become as Japanese as I could be, and I was pretty successful at that. But at the same time, your identity, the only thing that matters about your identity, to me, is not your nationality. It's not your race. It's not your culture, and it's not your gender identity. It's just who you are. The other stuff are just additional information. It's like you're wearing blue clothes, you use these pronouns, you're from this country, but you're actually a really nice person, and I like talking to you. You've got a good sense of humor. That's what's important in life. But yes, don't come here expecting to be accepted as a foreigner. Absolutely. And be comfortable with, people are going to look at people the way that you look at people. Personal hygiene is a thing. Yeah, freaking wash. Not looking at anyone in particular, English people. Some Japanese people like bathe twice a day. You will be judged for your ripped jeans. Ripped jeans. I like ripped jeans, but that feels a bit judgmental. But yes, she's got a dress code. Loud colors and dingy cosplay ruffles. You will suffer for it. And perfume, cologne is a no-no. Yeah, definitely too much. You can always tell when there's a foreigner visiting the office from overseas, because you can't stand in the elevator with them, because the people here are just not used to so much scent and so on. So yeah, just freaking wash, and wipe, for God's sakes. All of the stuff don't smell, and the cologne stuff, absolutely, that's good advice. So paprika, some harsh Gen X truth for the kids coming to Japan, but absolutely, vouching is everything. Japan runs like the mob. Again, I do like the harsh undertones of this, but absolutely, if you get people who will vouch for you, I've had jobs from people who have vouched for me in Japan. People do take that seriously. I don't know if it's still the same now, but and at the same time, when someone vouches for you, you are the reputation of the person who vouched for you. So you're not just accountable on your own. You're accountable to other people for not being a dick. And the rule is, once again, all of these, the not being a dick rule applies. You harm everybody by turning out to be a dick when they vouch for you. So yeah, take that seriously. Be a respectable adult. Again, Paprika Girl's not messing around, as you can see. Don't get into fights. Don't film yourself TikTok dancing in the middle of a crosswalk. Well, if you if your grandma would scold you for your choices, don't do it. Some caveats. I don't think I'm quite as harsh as Paprika Girl. I think so long as you're not making trouble to anyone else. In the end of the day, it comes down to being considerate and not being too self-centered or whatever. Don't engage with fights with strangers. So many foreigners I know who have joined in fights that they saw and seriously got their asses completely kicked and, later arrested or whatever. Make sure your visa's in order, mow the lawn, cut your hair. But exactly. Just to me, again, comes down to not being. I think it's okay. Am I hitting 100% on this? I don't think I'm hitting 100% on this. But so I stick to my thing that yeah, just don't be a dick. But she's making a solid point here. I'm going to speed up. These are great, but yes, Cologne can indeed be overwhelming. I sound like the NPC here. Nessa, I'm definitely, well, indeed. But the point is, people here are not NPCs. They're people. They're just not main player syndrome, which frankly, if you look at the definition of what main player syndrome is and the way that they look at at the way that anyone who looks at people as NPCs, that's completely consistent with the medical definition of toxic narcissism. They literally are unable to see other people as human beings and see the whole world is centered on them. That's literally, if you're looking at people as NPCs, you take a look at yourself, seriously. But yeah, get a hobby. Japanese are like deadly serious about hobbies, but this is also good advice. Stop buying interesting junk. Well, Japanese buy lots of interesting junk, and they throw lots of stuff away. Again, Paprika Girl's not messing about. She is, but yeah, don't be a hoarder. Japan does totally have hoarders, but absolutely, if you're in a small space, I must admit, I do sign off on this. If you're in a small space, you're just gonna be in a complete unmanageable mess in no time if you eat too much crap. I would move house just to get rid of stuff. Get your income. I don't really know what this is about. Definitely your life is easier with an income and go get that stuff sorted out. Absolutely. Banking is an art. Always carry some cash with you. Again, I go out of the house now regularly and I try to live my life only going around with a smartphone, and it's only become possible to do since PayPay really took off and I got PayPay in the last couple of years. It's definitely a high cash country, and until like literally the pandemic, you couldn't leave the house without a big wallet full of cash. So again, things have improved. I'm not quite as hardcore on this as Paprika Girl, but it's true. Getting in with the ATMs, which used to close at like midday on some days back in the old days. Kill with compliments, and more to the point, when you talk about other people more than yourself is kind of just a general rule of fitting in. Again, this idea when you go to America, it really hits me. Taking American culture, how people often will talk about themselves. I talk about myself. So I actually feel like in America, oh, thank God, I can actually be my jikochushin narcissist self. This is wonderful. And I'm one of the humble people here. But no, in Japan, pay attention and try as much as possible to be considerate towards people. And yeah, kill with compliments. It's a good way to fit in. And, they don't need to know what you really think. This is it. If you want to know what people really think, go to Korea, because they will tell you exactly what they think. And some people really prefer that about Korea. Korea has a brutal honesty culture that I think is unrivaled in any place I've encountered. Japan, your person standing next to you that you work with every day for 10 years might actually want to kill you. You're not going to know. And I honestly, if it happens, it happens. I'd prefer not to linger on it in advance. You are not a special snowflake. So again, like I say, raised in a forest with a hunting knife, Gen X, rugged individualism. But no, no one cares about your pronouns, your rights, your politics, your advocacy. This is a little bit what I was saying before about the NPC syndrome and so on, all of that stuff. You'll be ignored and you'll grow resentful and so on. She says, change is made at the right dinner tables and so on. Well, she actually says here, don't be an activist. I know people who are activists. There are ways to be an activist in Japan. I think going to a town where everybody hunts dolphins and saying, you're all assholes, that's very Westboro Baptist Church stuff. That's not good. But there are people who join Japanese activist groups for causes that Japanese care about and contribute to those meaningful. And Rochelle Kopp is an example of someone who is actually good at that. So again, I wouldn't go quite as extreme as Paprika Girl, but the direction, yeah, I definitely do agree. This is not your country. Do not use your own country's culture. I know my rights, or whatever here. Japan won't change to accommodate you, and you won't convince anybody. Definitely true with the police. Provoking the police. Police ask to see your passport or your ID, and you're like, and you want to show that you're a sovereign citizen. Japanese police are fine until you make any sort of trouble for them, and then they will turn your life into hell, and they can hold you for weeks without access to a lawyer, a phone call. They literally kidnap you here, and they will do that if you decide to be a dick. Don't be a dick. Easy rule. Wow, we've got 3 minutes left, and this goes on. Let's keep going on. Embrace the stereotypes. So she's from. Oh, so yes, when people have stereotypes of the place that you're from, this is how they're trying to connect with you. So if they know something, if they know about Al Capone's from Chicago and she's from Chicago, say, yeah, Michael Jordan, blues music or whatever. Don't waste your time negating and saying that they're wrong and that's just a stereotype and don't believe that. Go along with it because that's how people. It's like going to Spain and people offering you cigarettes. They're not trying to give you cancer. They just want to be a friend. When they say that, if you're from Chicago and they say they like Michael Jordan and you're like, well, actually he was Scottie Pippen is highly underrated and Michael Jordan's, a bit of a dickhead or whatever. No, they just want to be your friend. Accept the friendship. Yeah, Michael's cool. I want to be your friend. And so, yes, unfortunately, I can do this with New Zealand because I've never met a Japanese person who asks me if I've actually fucked a sheep, which is the case in Australia. So the stereotypes that I get, I can accept and I don't have to actually contradict. So yeah, Hungarian. So she must like List and F1. Yeah, why not? Don't waste your time negating the comments. It's good advice. Just go along with it. One time I did actually, somebody asked me, didn't even ask me. They said, hey, the toilets flush the opposite way in New Zealand, right? And I'm like, that's a dirty lie and an unscientific stereotype. And they got actually really offended. I don't know if it was that they wanted to be my friend or they were really invested in the direction the toilets spin. If you want, I can take a video when I go to New Zealand. But yes, I destroyed that person's perception of reality. And they were probably just trying to be my friend. So yes, I can't buy my ingredients here. Paprika Girl, screw your ingredients. Buy the ingredients that are here. Yes, so I think she also says somewhere along the line, I don't think she says... Yeah, Japan has lots of great food that's easy to make. Fair enough. I think she says somewhere, don't be a vegetarian. Again, a little bit harsher than I would put it. The locals are not your enemy. They're not others. They're not NPCs. Don't be a mass murderer, all of that stuff. But yeah, moving to Japan will not solve your problems. Oh my God, I've said this so many times to people. That's right. If you're having trouble fitting in, don't think Japan is the country where they will accept you and all your problems will go away. In fact, your problems will become worse in Japan because you'll be more isolated here, as much as that might not seem true when you're watching anime. Stay healthy. Again, I love the harshness here. I'm imagining the old boot camp sergeant major clothes here. Stay trim and healthy. Clothes are made for people who are fit. It's true if you're fatty. But you know what? I'm tall and I struggle with clothes as well. But which even that is kind of a sin in Japan. Eat like the Japanese do until you're 80% full. Don't overeat. If you do, you will get fat shamed. Keeping active will make this easier. So yeah, just don't be fat. And the thing is, okay, don't be tall. Japanese do not attack people for things that they can't control. Getting old, being tall, having a disability is absolutely taboo. But anything that they say is under your control, which includes getting a tattoo, by the way, because that's a conscious choice. Even if you feel like you can't get rid of it, you can kind of laser it off if you want to. But being fat, that's a reflection of your personality, which is completely okay. It's like the same as, having a tattoo across your forehead or whatever. People will say, yeah, why'd you do that? And they'll feel the same way about you being fat. So it's harsh, and it's hard to adapt to. I had people saying to me, hey, put on some pounds, Hiko, when I was still, yeah, but why are you saying that to me? I would still get upset by it. But it's actually, I've come around to thinking it's a good thing. But definitely in Japan, the Japanese will shame you. That is true. And in the end of the day, being healthy is probably a better thing. You are owed nothing. Again, she's literally sucking up buttercup. This is Paprika Girl pouring it on, but again, left in a forest with a hunting knife to grow up, and she's turned into a refined kimono sensei, so she must be doing something right. Yeah, you deal with, don't cry about discrimination. I cried a little bit about discrimination. Searching for an apartment was really stressful when I couldn't get apartments for nothing that I had done, but because some dickhead foreigners before me had gotten all foreigners banned from some apartment buildings, and I had to deal with the fallout of that, and that was very stressful. I cried a little bit. I get the feeling Paprika Girl may not have cried in her entire life, and I respect that as a toxic male. But I've had some moments when I was house hunting that I might have become misty-eyed at certain moments. Anyway, stay out of toxic expat circles. I mean, all the circles used to be toxic. That was their definition. But absolutely, people, you come here and just get more depressed, especially when their friends start going after 2 or 3 years and they start losing all their friends. And some people get into sort of a depression and reject people who reject their negative worldview. Again, these things are less than before, it feels like now, especially with more tourists here. But yeah, it used to be very much like that. And 20 out of 20, you know nothing. You know nothing. Don't come in here with assumptions. Be open-minded. Absolutely, being open-minded, secret to everything. So I've got a South African friend who plays rugby who has slightly more intense views on fat shaming than Paprika Girl. And he's like, all these people who say that they're big boned or they have a glandular disorder or whatever. I've never seen a fat skeleton before. He says in the South African voice. Yeah. And yeah, she's definitely a late Gen X. Yes, you didn't have to tell me that you were Gen X. I could tell the moment you were literally calling people buttercups and snowflakes. You're a Gen X television director from Chicago. She makes TV shows. And yeah, I thought this was actually fun. I know we're kind of up on time. I'm gonna rocket through the rest of the topics. But yeah, we didn't even get to the MJ. All these people waiting for the marijuana. I was telling people to get their lives together. Let's talk about marijuana now. Let's get into here. Okay, let's rocket through to the weed. So we've got prostitutes. We've got, I ran a lot this year. I ran 931 kilometers. Pretty proud of that. We had a disco session. That was awesome. Thanks to everybody who joined. Justice Ministry said people didn't used to have surnames. A famous person died in the bathtub just from the temperature difference, causing a shock to the system, which happens here because houses are often not insulated. So you suddenly get into a hot bath and your heart like freaks out. And apparently 20,000 people die every year. 3 times more people die of temperature shock in their bathtubs every year in Japan than die in traffic accidents. Partly a reflection of how good the subway system is here, but also not messing around. Be careful. I mean, this is why I don't like baths that are too hot is one thing, but yeah, that's a thing. It's a big thing in Japan. People like their baths super hot. Not speaking of super hot, more about Luigi Mangione, the meme that he's a good-looking guy. I don't know, but there we go. Apparently he did find time to be a dickhead on Japan, so definitely death penalty. Should tourists be fined for stealing reserved Shinkansen streets? Here's my seats. Here's my opinion. If you're stealing a seat, again, you're violating my one rule. I only have one piece of advice about Japan. Should you be fined? No, you should be thrown in jail. You should be Johnny Somali'd out of that situation. Don't steal people's seat on the bullet train. Yoon, he got impeached. God, I was going to talk about Korea tonight, but we've definitely run out of time for that. AI, I've been making clips of Sora. I haven't published any. I did actually make some really good ones, so I'll go through that maybe next week, and I might even post some stuff during the week, and I will get to the tracks, to the clips made by Nesta and by Sunny Side Up. So thank you for making those. Marijuana, no longer, the smoking marijuana is now illegal in Japan. Before, here's the funny thing. It's illegal. It's like okay, get into my Pulp Fiction voice. So in Japan, it's illegal to hold marijuana. It's illegal to distribute marijuana. It's illegal to sell marijuana, and it's illegal to buy marijuana. But using marijuana is not actually criminalized. So if you can somehow, get over the floor is lava situation to the weed, and literally just probably without touching it, like if there's like a cigarette just hanging there, and you can get up and just puff on it, you would be in the clear, legally speaking, because the actual act of smoking and using marijuana was not. If if someone like threw the cookie across the room into your mouth, and you're able to like touch, without like it touching anything else, if you're able to just catch the cookie and get high, not illegal. Which apparently Japanese thought was an unacceptable loophole. So they decided to take away the net from the basketball hoop. And yeah, literally, if you have gloves off, basically you put your hands behind you, you just go, and they put it in. Then yeah, suppositories, I suppose, as well could even work. I don't know why you'd want to do it that way. But yes, apparently now you go straight to jail for 7 years for that. So yeah, while the rest of the world is easing up on the wacky tobacco, Mary Jane is going straight to prison. The thing is as well, Japan's criminal code and all the consulates when Seattle, when Washington State legalized marijuana, All the Japanese consulates everywhere put out a note: Japanese citizens in America, remember, the Japanese criminal code does not explicitly limit itself to Japan. If you're a Japanese citizen and you're abroad and we know that you broke a Japanese law, you could be subject to prosecution in Japan. So think about this. I was like brushing my teeth and the ventilation just had like, it was, I don't know if Snoop Dogg was in the room. It was like my whole building was full of Snoop Doggy Dogg clones. I don't know. I was like just trying to like eat some yogurt and like brush my teeth, and my room, my clothes were overwhelmingly just stinking of like weed smoke coming through the ventilation. And I didn't want it. I mean, so yeah, technically, I mean, just inhaling just walking around in the street in Seattle, I think technically you are inhaling marijuana, and I don't know, under Japan's rules, you could be subject to 7 years prison. Obviously, this is ridiculous. Obviously, when you look at it from a harm-based perspective, whether or not you want, it's like if alcohol and cigarettes are legal, then how in the hell, from a harm perspective, marijuana is clearly, I mean, is at the same time, it's not like a cure for cancer, problemless. There are problems. The stuff right now is so strong. There's people that do get heavy use can lead to all sorts of different side effects and problems and so on. It's not like the perfect thing, but certainly in a world where alcohol. Some people have two or three drinks of alcohol and they get into fights. Or they do stupid shit. Tobacco, which is explicitly addictive. From a harm and a public policy perspective. The fact that Japan's going the other way, doubling down on something that has no real particular, harm compared to a lot of other legal vices, it is ridiculous, but it shows that Japan's really about following the rules, as Paprika Girl was just saying, rather than thinking about, I know my rights, or your rule doesn't make any sense, so I reject its application. To me, that's not really how Japan works, but there again, Japan like doubling down, to me, is that is excessive. So again, hemp fabric. And you know what? In Japan, just as a reminder, Japan was big on hemp. And the plant grows wild and naturally in Japan. Smokable stuff. There used to be bus tours that would go up to Hokkaido. You could actually just pull over by the highway as these bus tours were doing. People would get out and start rolling stuff. And, like they'd pick the plants there that were growing wild. The Emperor of Japan himself, Emperor Hirohito, the Showa Emperor, was the patron of the Japanese hemp industry. And after World War II, when GHQ was in charge of Japan, the whole, all the planes were covered in, hemp-based fabric. All the uniforms were made out of hemp. Japan's economy, because of the oil embargo on Japan did not use any synthetic materials. They used all cotton and hemp for the entire economy. And all the sort of religious and Shinto stuff, it's all based on hemp-based ropes and whatever. Japan was seriously so into hemp that the emperor himself was the patron of the hemp industry in Japan. And when GHQ, wanting to sell American synthetic clothes and products to Japan, banned marijuana in Japan before it banned it in America, the emperor did a tour of Japan to all the hemp growers saying, I got you guys. I'm the emperor. You're still going to be cool. But nowadays, of course, Japan's hemp industry is very small. You can buy hemp beers, by the way. You can go jail for 7 years for smoking it, but you can get a light buzz of hemp beer, which I've drank. The stuff was made in Niigata, and it was a pleasant beer. It was actually better than most of the beers I've had in Australia. So, like the emperor traditionally was like the supporter of the industry. So I think Japan has got a pretty messed up take on all of that. But there we go. America's built on it. Hemp farms. George Washington had farms. I mean, of all the things that George Washington did, he had like 100 slaves and fucked a few of them, if I recall correctly, and he grew weed. I mean, clearly weed was like the least bad of all of these things. So all of that. Anyway. So by the way, hemp is not banned in Japan. Hemp is actually allowed in Japan, but it's really strictly regulated. But the point is, traditionally, that plant has a really important part in Japanese culture. So many words in Japanese use the kanji. There is a standalone kanji for the hemp plant, for the cannabis plant. And it's in lots of words, regular words. So, I don't know. It's a big deal, and it's ridiculous that Japan is going all apeshit on it like this. I was going to talk about how social media, and there's a great thing on the Kobe governor getting reelected, but we don't really have time for that today. And Suica, they are going to increase the budget. Right now, you can put up to 20,000 yen. They're going to increase that next year. I don't know how much, but I like that because I love to use Suica and not have to carry cash anymore. That said, they're also apparently talking about putting like location tracking chips in to detect when you're going into trains and calculate your train fares that way. I'm not sure I like the idea of being tracked all day by this. I'm not sure that'll go down well in Japan. Finally, Ibaraki, often ranked the fuggliest prefecture in Japan, decided it would create a ranking of the happiness index for places where foreigners are happy in Japan. They made up an index to promote themselves of happiness for foreigners in Japan, but knowing that they were seen by everybody, including themselves, as the fuggliest prefecture in Japan, they decided that wouldn't be credible if they put themselves at number 1. Tokyo gets number 1 as the happiest place to be a foreigner in Japan. They thought, man, well, number 4 sounds credible. Let's put ourselves at number 4. So I don't know, what does it say about a place that that doesn't even have the confidence to put itself at the top of a made-up index? For what it's worth, who was on the index? We've got the ranking. Tokyo, happiness index 4.03, way ahead of Mie, which is lovely, down in Shikoku. Got number 2, Aichi. Really? Toyota Town, Nagoya, 3rd on the happiness index. Ibaraki 4. I mean, seriously, you have to ask. I mean, Tochigi getting 6. Also, the Ibaraki's main rival for least liked place in Japan. But like Kyoto, Osaka, Gifu, what did they do to get put below Ibaraki and Tochigi for foreigners? I'd say foreigners, honestly. If I was going to make up an index, I'd definitely have Osaka way up here because it's a much friendlier place for foreigners. But all of that stuff. We're over time. I'm going to go and do an after party. I'm going to be doing after parties and live sets in New Zealand. I might do some live sets at more friendly times, but we'll see what we can do with all of that. Let's have a quick look. Split Fries Media, great to see you in here. Don't talk shit about Nagoya. I mean, Ibaraki, a positive thing to say about Nagoya, Ibaraki thinks that people are probably happier there than in Ibaraki. So there we go. That's a raging endorsement of Nagoya. Split Fries Media, great to see you. Am I an indica or a sativa guy? Whatever stinks up my clothes less when my next door neighbor is smoking it would be the answer. Nesta's out of here. OG Washington, Gangster Prez, damn straight. Yes, sorry if you're just joining, but glad that you can make it. Nessa, great to have you in here. Thanks everybody for the comments. Do remember to like the video. I do appreciate it. We've gone over time tonight, but it's been fun. It's going to continue to be fun over New Year's. Have a great New Year's break, but I am going to be still making videos every Sunday, just on New Zealand time. So it's going to be a little bit earlier than this, but do just remember to leave a like, leave a comment. I appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new in. Great to see so many new names in the comments as well every week. Indeed, seems that way, Nessa, and all that stuff. So just, follow. You can follow Paprika Girl's 20 tips or mine single tip, which just covers everything. Okay, I'm going to go. Oh, Mike Zilla M, great to see you. Everybody have a fantastic week. Leave a like, and then if you want to hang around for some tunes that you get to pick, I'm going to set up the DJ setup on a new screen setup, which I'm actually quite liking. So follow the link that Aaron has there in the comments, and I'll see you in a couple of minutes. I'm going to reboot the computer to make sure I don't get any weird stuff with the sound. So I'll be like 2 or 3 minutes, and I'll be on the other stream, and come DJ with me, dance a bit. Have a good week, everybody. When is the next 2.5 weeks? Good question, Black Tango. I've got a ping. I talk with Victor every day, but we haven't actually checked in about that. Maybe in the new year, because when I'm in New Zealand, it'll be hard to do it at a time that's US friendly. But thank you for the reminder. I will come back with an update on that. So yes, indeed. Okay, we'll see you all anyway. Have a great week, everybody. See you from New Zealand soon, and see you at the after party. Have a good week. Boom. Peace. In extreme. Putting pants on.